Hello there and welcome to Community Life. Here we talk with the community experts about their life journeys and learn from each other. And today we have a conversation with Helena Brandist, a Miroverse community builder, an inspiring speaker, and an on-the-spot astrology expert with a background in social theory and film. So, hello, Helena.
Hello, hello. What a lovely introduction, especially the astrology part. I knew it would come out. I didn't know it would come out straight away, but here it is. Great.
It's it was no other way it won't come out, like hidden passions. We'll talk more about hidden passions later on. But the first question, why do people call you Craig?
Right. So my dad's name is Craig. And as you know, in some countries, people have patronymic names. And mine is Craigovna.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds very odd for many people. So a few of my friends called me Craig, and I'm kind of used to it. And then when my dad found out, I had slippers marked with Craig and written in Cyrillic, and my dad was like, "What's that? Why does it say Craig?" I was like, "Yeah, it's a long story, but yes, Craig it is."
So Craig Jr. Okay, now I know the story behind your Instagram account.
It gets more interesting. In my Dutch passport now, they took that name, and it's actually my first name. So it's Helena Craig Ovna, whatever. And I think that's so weird. So here, the Craig Jr. I never asked for it, but here I am, officially a Craig Jr.
Congratulations. Okay, so if it's name of your dad and that's exactly how you had this account and this second name, let's talk about your parents. So tell me more about them. Who are they?
So yeah, just so my parents are two very interesting people. My dad, Craig, as you have learned, he is a British guy who's from near Birmingham in the UK, who is a professor of social theory and intellectual history at university, and politically active, very opinionated, very inspiring, sometimes challenging. As you can imagine, having a father like that is very formative for a child. I think I inherited a lot from him, and respect him a lot for all that. My mother is called Maria. She is from a big city in Russia, and she is, I don't know how, I don't think they'll watch this, so I'm going to say I don't know how they got together. It's like two completely different people. They're not together anymore. They haven't been for many, many years. But she is this classically beautiful, very kind woman who loves everything classical. She loves the opera. She loves the ballet. She loves classical literature. It always has to be classical. So that's her. And because of that, I've been to the opera like millions of times ever since being tiny and just suffering through. And the only thing that would let me sit through those performances was the bounty chocolate that I was promised in the breaks. So yeah, these are my parents. Very interesting, a very interesting bunch, if you can say that. But yeah, Craig and Maria.
Yeah, I'm so curious about the story how they met. But okay, so after having been participated in so much operas, do you like it?
It's interesting because I was also forced to sing classical music, right? I sang opera, I played the piano, I finished musical school, like a lot of people in those areas, of the world, I think. And I don't think I used to not like it, but I think it's growing on me as I get older. And I think that happens to people. I remember hating it, but doing it. And then I can sing. So I sing opera and I love singing it, but I don't love listening to it, but somehow it's calming. So it's a paradox. I can't tell you for sure if I like it. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I don't really mind it, but I can't handle too much of it.
So I
Yeah.
feel like I should ask you this question like 10 years later.
Yeah, you'll see me and I'll be there, just like surrounded by all these, all this opera and all the
Cla-
talk, all the music.
classical stuff. So one day you'll be building communities for opera singers and something like that
I
for
mean,
opera.
yeah, it could be. You never know. You never know.
I believe that studying social theory was because of your dad, definitely. And how studying social theory changed your perception of the world?
So I studied what in my bachelor's was in cultural studies, and I specialized in literature and art, and I was very interested in political studies as well. And of course, there's a lot of social theory and philosophy, and not necessarily. The main focus wasn't on social theory, but that was something I was personally very interested in. And you can't really study it in isolation because you start with philosophy and you kind of step by step understand how the history of thought has developed.
Yeah.
And I think that has really helped me understand why we are where we are now, how things have developed, different kinds of thoughts. Some were more popular than others. Let's say some really influenced other ideas that continued. So for me, it was really about understanding why we are the way we are. And still, I think I have lots to learn. It was only a fairly short period of my life, like 6 years. But yeah, I think it has changed me a lot. It has made me aware of a lot of things. It has made me aware of also, well, social theory, a lot of societal issues and how they're formed and how they may be viewed as something else. And yeah, it's quite complex, but I love it still. Yeah.
And do you like history?
So funny. When I was at school, I hated history. I think it was like taught in such a boring way. I don't know if you can resonate. And I was like,
Totally.
God, why would anyone want to study that? It was like so boring. It was like something forced upon me to learn all those dates and everything. But now I find it very interesting. And I really wish it was taught to me differently when I was younger, because I think that could have also changed the things that I chose and the way I behaved and like the interests I had. But maybe it will be better for the kids of the future. But yeah, I am interested. I still have a lot to learn. So, just saying.
I totally hated history in the school because we had some crazy teacher who, first of all, she didn't have a good smell out of her mouth, and it was really bad to sit on the first, row.
Yeah.
Because when I was a bad pupil, she always made me sit right in front of her, and it was like a torture. But now I'm reading history with my kid, and I was like, oh my God, how could I miss it?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's and also I believe that we repeat the history. So basically, knowing what happened back there, we might have just a small like sneak peek inside what might happen in the future. So that's exactly why I asked you. And yeah, I believe that we definitely need to know it. But have you ever connected like history with social theory?
I mean, for sure, it's connected. That you can't really separate them, because they were based on the realities of the time. And a lot, I mean, and the theories, for example, like let's take the Marxist theory, right? And then there are so many other thoughts and theoretical thoughts, I'm not sure how to frame it correctly, have been based on that. And there's like history of Marxist thought, and then it changes through time.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends on what kind of world we live in. I think we can't say now, for example, the people who are Marxists, let's say, they can't be like now, yes, let's do it like, the Russian Revolution of 1917, and, kind of keeping quoting that when it's 2023 and the life is completely different. So the history changes, life realities change, people change. So it's all very historic, of course.
Yeah, definitely. And tell me the story about the full hate cardboard figure of Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's like we jump from Marxist theory to
Dwayne The Rock Johnson, exactly.
I wish I had Dwayne. So I wish I had him. I lost him a year ago or so. So I love Dwayne, like as simple as that. I think he's hot. I think he's just really cute and funny. And I know, he's like this huge man, somehow he's charming. His films are ridiculous, but he knows it and he kind of embraces it, which I think is really cool. And so I love him. And then I think about 5 years ago, my friends got me a gift for my birthday, and it was like this big cardboard thing, and I was like, if it's not Dwayne, I don't want it. And then they were like, yeah, open it. And I actually said it as a joke, and that was him. He was it was Dwayne The Rock, like this life-size red carpet. And I had him for a while, and then I had a housemate before, and she threw him away because she was annoyed with me, and I was like, that's just mean. But to be fair, he started falling to pieces at that point. He had to move a few times, but I do love him a lot, and I always mention it. And when I did have him, I'd like pull him up and he would stand behind me, or like I would fold him and unfold him. Like during COVID, I unfolded him and he was just standing there to keep me company. At some point I started talking to him because he was just there, just me and him. I remember once I was living at a place there where there were big windows, like the whole wall was basically a window, and I put him out, and I kind of forgot, and it was dark, and I came back home and I was like, I just jumped. I was so afraid. I was like, who is this? I just saw this huge man in my window, and I was like, oh, it's just Dwayne. God, it's just him. Thank God, But I was like, maybe people would want to rob me. They'd see this huge man and they would think twice. So it kind of goes both ways.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I wonder what was the floor of your apartment?
So second floor. If we have the 0 floor, so no, actually maybe it was first. So you could still probably like see the silhouette.
I still wonder if people were taken for, oh my God, look, it's Dwayne.
Actually, I think so, because now in the building where I live, someone has a cutout of Taylor Swift, and people take pictures of that.
And here is the history. We don't know this history, but most likely from now on, this house is totally famous, like one of the famous house in the city. And now all cardboard celebrities are living there.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have another Dwayne. I'm not gonna lie. I want him back.
I wonder what your boyfriend will say.
He accepts it fully. He's like accepting me as I am. Sorry. Yeah.
What you were talking about with Dwayne back then?
Well, I think it's more like, it's like talking to a dog kind of thing. When I have a dog, I talk to it all. I don't have a dog, but I take care of my friends' dogs often because I really like dogs, but don't feel ready to have one. So an example, I was walking my friend's dog and I was saying, oh God, it's so hot, isn't it? He was like, yeah, can you believe that? And I was just in Rome last week and it was like 40 plus. I know. And then I thought I was alone on the street, but then there was this guy who was just sitting there. I was like, So it would be something like that. Just like a, kind of one-sided conversation, but pretending as if he's responding to me. Yeah.
What is your favorite movie with Dwayne?
So all of them. I do love San Andreas, I think, just because I remember that one. But all his movies are kind of the same. It's not really about the movies, just about him, to be fair. I'd watch anything with him in.
Yeah, just the big guy coming and, like just making everything better.
Yeah, it's like a fun eye candy for me.
Got it. Talking about dogs, why you are not ready to have one?
So I live alone, and I really wanted to get one, and I even went to look at some puppies. But then I had this puppy called Nigel. My friends left him with me for about 10 days. And it was so painful. Like in the first day, first 5 minutes, he peed on my bed, threw up, had diarrhea, everything at once. Then he was like crying, and we bonded really well. And I became obsessed with him, as I would, just complete obsession. That's another thing. But then I was like, I need another person to be responsible, because I'm quite obsessive. So I became obsessed with him so that nothing else in my life mattered. Like my boyfriend would come over and I would just ignore him because I needed to take care of Nigel. So I was like, okay, if I do this, I need to have a partner, like another dog dad or mom or dog aunt, uncle, whatever, because alone it just takes over my life. Yeah, that's the reality.
It's fun because I remember I wanted a dog and we have one. We have two currently right now. Then my wife wanted, okay, so my wife wanted a cat. It was first. Then my kid wanted the small furry things. I forgot how it's called in English.
Hamster?
Yes, then my kid wanted hamster. And at the end of the day, it was like everyone told me that they will be responsible for them. You can understand who was responsible for every piece of this life material. And currently we have two dogs, and it was crazy decision because the second dog, it was like, once again, my kid was like, oh my God, I need one more dog and I will be responsible for everything. And it's kind of crazy, at the moment you agree that you'll be responsible both, but most likely you finish being responsible yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. And I don't know how you do it. So you're saying you are the one responsible fully? My God, I don't know, because my boyfriend was like, yeah, I'll do it 100%. And then after we looked at the dog, he was like, yeah, but you have to know that you are still the main carer. And I'm like, I know what that means. It means it's only me. I know what it means. So I'm like not getting it. Yeah.
So tell me, I saw this photo with you and dog Mia, and I saw that it was your dog. But okay, since you told me already that it's not your dog, tell me the story of you and Mia.
So Mia, the dog, is a very particular character. I love her. She is a very sassy, independent lady, which I love. But I also want more cuddles. But I respect her, So she's actually my boyfriend's employee's dog. And initially he was going to take care of her, but of course it was me, and I've taken care of her a few times since. Yeah, and I just love her. I take her to the office. She runs around in the corridors. She goes after people, she wants everyone to love her. But then she's not like she's clingy. She like wants to be with you, but she doesn't want to really kind of cuddle with me. It's like she just wants me to be there for her all the time. But yeah, she's very particular. I was like, I love her, but when she's picked up, I also love it.
I can imagine. So I feel like you do not receive, the same love back. So it's like one-sided relationships.
Yeah, it's kind of I'm kind of her slave, you know?
So it seems like she's more like a cat, not a dog.
Yeah, I think so. And she's a mini poodle, and mini poodles apparently are very energetic and it doesn't change. So, you know, she's very much like, yeah, that's her character. I mean,
Strong,
good for her.
independent dog.
Yeah, she's strong and independent. She doesn't really need me, but she likes me to be there just to boost her confidence, you know?
And just to feed, most likely.
Yeah, feed and take her to the bathroom. That's about it.
And that's exactly how cats act.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally. And once you shared that you are very lucky to have friends you have in your life. So what is the secret to having good friends?
That's a good one. I don't think it's a secret. Um, and you know, I think friends change throughout your life. I think, you know, the older you get, the more you realize that there'll be few people who are really close to you. But I've always been very lucky to find people in throughout my life who I would consider close friends and someone who I could even call something like a family. I've been abroad for years and, you know, I don't really have a family close to me. But I've never felt alone. And I think it is because of the friends who I have. And they, yeah, it's always been like that. I've never been super close with my family, but always had these people around me. And that's it. I think it's just being there for each other. I think living in Amsterdam, for example, it's a big expat hub. So everybody's moved not knowing anyone, so people get together. But I also I don't have a group of friends. All the friends that I have come from different I don't know, jobs, you know, wherever I meet them. And I don't like this kind of group dynamic. I really enjoy one-to-one connections. I actually feel anxiety when I'm in a big group, so I don't. It's quite tough for me. I can be it's social. A lot of social interaction in groups is tough for me, even though I'm a community manager. But here it is. That's the truth. I really cherish the deep one-to-one connections. That's what my friendships are, and I think that kind of setting is what has made it possible.
And how do you build those connections?
Never forcing it. I think often you kind of feel a certain connection to a person, and then without any pressure exploring it and you know, continuing the conversation, getting to know each other more. And that's just it. I think not having any pressure is important, and both being open, and also if it's not the case, just respecting the other person's wish, because it's just that's how it is. Not everyone's for you, and you're not for everyone, and that's what it is.
Do you have any red or green flags in friendship?
I mean, I think red flags, and for me personally, I'm an introvert. Again, maybe weird for the community management, but I'm more of an introvert. And for me, it's very important people leave me my space and respect my space and don't push me, because I can only be there for you. And I love being there for people as long as I care for myself. And I feel like I've sacrificed so much for others before, and I'm now relearning to really take care of myself first and respect me and really listen to myself, because I still don't really know what I want to feel, because I never really practiced that. Like I've always lived this life thinking that I have to put others before me, and I think it's the upbringing and whatever, being a woman, everything. And now I'm really fighting against that. So it's really important for me that people respect that. And if they don't, for me, it's a red flag. And I could even break up with that friend. Maybe, you know, for the time being, maybe we'll return to each other in the future. But it's something that is very important to me. And I try, of course, to act in the same way. And green flag, respecting each other's boundaries, being able to share things, for example, that you don't like, give feedback, let's say, without feeling threatened or feeling like another person will attack you for, you know, setting your boundaries or sharing something that they didn't like. I think these are, and being there for each other, listening to each other, being interested in each other's lives. Yeah.
Outside of astrology, what are your hidden passions?
I mean, it's interesting how astrology has become a passion now, but you know,
hidden passion, you know. You
I mean,
didn't know it before, so.
yes, well, I now know that through astrology, I know that you have magnetic energy. So that's what we learned. But anyway, I love music, singing. I love sports. I used to do professional sport, professional athletics. And I love film. These are my passions. And of course, dogs, but it's not hidden. But somewhat of an obsessive thing. And yeah, I like social theory.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I still wonder, since you have the background in film also, so have you ever thought in working somewhere in that space?
So I have education in film theory. So, and to be honest, I don't know. I'll be curious to know maybe what you think and what your path has been as well, and that we can discuss. But education has, you know, I think in the contemporary world, education is something that leads you into the job market. For me, education has never been something that leads me to the job market, but more of a time and space to explore something to really grow my mind. I never wanted to study, let's say, sales or marketing. That is kind of an obvious thing for many, and it gives people, understandably, you know, I definitely don't criticize people who choose this path into the job market to make more money, or at least hope for that. For me, it's always been, yeah, as I said, a moment to learn more. And that's how I chose social theory, cultural studies, and film theory. And I would never change anything. And but I knew that working in that world is very tough, especially with theoretical background. I have done things, you know, I have done certain translations, some writing, and working at a film museum and working on VR shows and different installations and everything. But at some point, reality kicks in, because all of that mostly has been project work. Mm-hmm. And reality kicks in and you need to survive. And if you need to survive, you need to work. And I've had times when I've had 5 jobs at the same time and working 7 days a week, and not having any social life, just to be able to survive and pay rent and just food and whatever else. And yeah, and then that's what I say, reality kicks in, and then you kind of go into another path. And, you know, that being said, I really like what I do now, but maybe it will bring me back into kind of film communities or whatever, because I'm not a producer, I'm not a director. It's more like I'm a theorist. So yeah, I mean, the reality hits and we all live in that reality, and it's getting grimmer every day. So this is what I'm like, joy, let's be joyful. Yeah.
What do you mean by saying theorist? Is it some kind of critics?
Theory, I think to explain it, it's like understanding film, making inside out, and not technically, but more like, you would analyze the hidden messages, the metaphors, the way it's shot, the meanings, the theories, the influences, things like that. So that, for example, for my master dissertation, I was writing about the comeback of the social realism genre, and it's something very kind of it's realism. It's not documentary, but it's realism, but it derives from documentary. And I was comparing it in Russia and in the UK, and I was comparing to films, and it's all connected to politics and censorship, and the way people are allowed to express themselves or not, and the way it shapes the art. In my presentation at the Community Rebellion conference, I said that templates the templates of the people in Miroverse, I realized that those were windows into a person's story in the world. Well, the reason why I chose to study film was because I saw it as a window into the world as well, but a very beautiful one. So that's, in a nutshell, the way I see it.
What is your favorite film?
I knew this would come. So I of course I love different things, and actually I have a membership, cinema membership, art house cinema membership, and I go to see films all the time. I really love social realism, as you could have guessed, and I really love Daniel Blake by Ken Loach. Ken Loach is a British director, kind of social realist director. I love the Russian director Andrei Zvyagintsev, maybe you know. He also has created a lot of all those films are very miserable. I'm into suffering and misery, but like realistic suffering. So those two I really love, I'd say. But of course there are others that I really enjoy as well and love. But those are the favorites.
How do you feel after seeing those films?
Brought down to the earth.
What it means?
It means that first, of course, I really appreciate the work and the way these films are created and presented and all the messaging and everything, but an artistic part of it. But also the reality of human life, the reality of existence, I feel very humbled, and that's what I try to be. I try to be humble. We all come from different places, we all have different challenges, and it's about being people after all. So I think I feel very human, and it makes me feel, it kind of reminds me of what is important to me and what my values are. I would say that.
I went through, I told you that it was hard to prepare for this conversation, but I went through comments, and Max Pitt and Mili Tamati were only two people who you told that they are inspirations for you. So who inspires you, or what inspires you in your life journey?
Interesting that you went through my comment. I think the fact that I wrote that for them, I mean, definitely true, but I think everyone at the conference that we were inspirational to me. In fact, I left with such a feeling of being very lucky and humbled, and so you're also an inspiration. Not saying it because
it's not like I wanted to hear that, but
but you love it. You still love it. Yeah. And I mean, I think you did really great and really fun, and I can give you more things. I can tell you more things that I learned, but we can do that later.
Yeah, but it's more about you and your life and what inspires you.
I never had like this one person who I thought was like, oh yeah, that's my idol, I want to be like them. Different things inspire me, but I think looking at people's journeys and people who stay true to themselves no matter what, and it's not always easy. I think it's not easy for me. I sometimes forget who I really am. I think we're trying to kind of figure out how to survive and fit into this world. But when I see examples of people who persevered and really stayed true to themselves, and something really cool came out of it, is amazing. Also, people who chose to give their life to serve others, like doctors and nurses, and that's something that is really inspiring, and these people deserve much more than they get in this world. So that is what I think, and that's the overall. But then there are different, there are people who take care of their mental health and are unapologetic about it and open about it. I think what I also inspired by people being open and not afraid. I'm afraid of a lot of things. I think we all are. It's scary to share who you really are sometimes. You look at my Instagram and you don't really know who I am. It's not only because I'm afraid I don't know if I want everyone to know, but also, there are things like, who would want to hear something from me? Like, who am I? Why would anyone care? And, being brave enough to just go out there and do it, I think that's pretty cool. And nobody cares in the end. Like, I know that, but it's still a big thing to do. Like, you do that, for example. And I don't know what your journey through that has been, but it is brave to just be out there and to say whatever you think, even if you know that a lot of people will not agree with you.
I will say that I totally understand what you're talking about, but at one moment I saw the advertisement of the Lion chocolate. I've never thought about this, but it was so deep in my mind that it was saying that if you will forgive me my imperfection, I'll forgive yours. And what I found that the more you share your inner thoughts and your real you with the world, the more same people connecting with you. Because if you are saying, if you are sharing something like deep personal, and somebody, oh my god, this person is a freak, so most likely it's good, so it means that we won't interact anyhow, but other people will see like, oh my god, it's so relate to me.
Yeah.
And it really helps to connect. And once I had this crazy post on Facebook. It was so stupid, but it is what it is. I asked people, how do they feel about going to a public toilet? And it's something everyone thinks about, but nobody talks about. Because I know a lot of people and who can't go to public toilets because they're just so dirty. And yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I know. Yeah, I totally can totally relate. Yeah.
And it's fun. This post was one of the most discussable posts. So like, I had so many opinions on that, and like, it's crazy. But sometimes crazy things are exactly what connects you with other same crazy people around you. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Was there anyone who loved going to public toilets? That's my question.
I didn't mean those people. At least they were silent.
So like maybe they were not ready to be themselves yet. Yeah.
They were afraid of who they are, and yeah, exactly. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, is he connect anyhow with your life?
Yes. So that is my childhood crush. And you can see that, there is this kind of development, and it went into Dwayne. So, but before it was Arnie, I was obsessed, I think more than with Dwayne. When I was 4, I think my dad showed me Terminator 2. Strange choice for a 4-year-old, or something 5. I was very small. And I fell in love with him instantly. I even cried once. I told my dad that I was going to marry him. And when my dad told me that he was already married, I was so upset. I was genuinely interested at that time that this, my time would come.
Ah,
I think he's single now, so maybe.
nah, you never know. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I loved him. I remember when I was quite young. All my pocket money that I saved up, I went and I bought a book about him with
Hmm.
pictures of him like in the middle of it. But yeah, I really loved him. I thought he was, I don't know what I really thought. I don't remember, but I really liked him for some reason. I don't like him anymore. I question my choices back then. But yeah.
Yeah, he's too old already. Yeah, so.
Yeah, like, but even him young, I'm like, what was I thinking? It's not, I mean, not really my thing. Yeah. But there is you see, there is a certain trend going on there. My boyfriend doesn't
Yeah.
look like them at all.
Should he be afraid of that?
No, I think he's fine. He just accepts whatever it is. In fact, I've never dated anyone remotely looking like either of them. So I think it's just some kind of a dream that will.
Yeah, and you never know if you wanted the dream to come true, you know?
Yeah, I don't think so. I actually don't know. No.
Talking about a little about sharing stuff, and once you wrote that sometimes you feel like sharing achievements or things you are proud of may seem selfish. Why do you think so?
I think it comes from different things, and I think it seems to me like people can relate to that. It was under Jenny's post, right? So Jenny wrote that she was sharing that her business turned for I don't remember how many years. But her video started by, oh, maybe it will seem like I'm not humble or something like along those lines, but I'm so proud of this. And I was looking at that and I was thinking, what? Like, why would anyone, I would never think that. But I think there is this idea, and I think there are certain people who would think that it's true, but as if sharing your achievements is almost like bragging. And then you don't want to appear as if you are, not authentic and you're just like so much into yourself and you love yourself so much and like, oh my God, I'm amazing. So I think that's the kind of thing. And I've only started sharing things about my achievements very recently for that exact reason. First, I thought that my achievements were not achievements. That's one thing, just the huge imposter syndrome and like never enough kind of thing. And then, yeah, people will think that I'm just stuck up, in love with myself. But I never think that about others. So I think it's kind of breaking this thinking and changing, reframing your mind. But yeah, and I mean, I see that all the time. I think very often women have that. I think because we are also often socialized to be nurturers and to be there for others. And it's selfish and I don't believe it's true, but it's kind of these kind of ingrained thoughts like, oh, we have to nurture for others and support others. And, we kind of put ourselves in the second or third place. And I really see that with myself. And now when I share it, I'm like, oh my God. First, I'm like, oh my God, everybody will think I'm stupid. That's the first one that I have. I'm like, everybody will think I'm stupid. And, posting my presentation on LinkedIn, I'm like, people will see it and they'll think I'm stupid. I'm still going to post it, whatever, like my exercise for myself. And then people are very positive. And if somebody thinks something negative, they most likely are not going to tell me. And I already know things that I need to improve for myself. So it is an achievement, but it's still a struggle. Yeah, it's not easy. I can tell you, it's a process.
Yeah, I totally feel you on this side. And but when I'm always thinking about that, I'm asking this question like, have you ever thought something bad about anyone who shares their achievements? And the answer was no, I was happy for them. And I feel like the same is here, so the people who really cares about you, they will definitely support and they will be happy too. And you know, as I feel it, when you share your achievements, first of all, you make other people happy who cares about you. And secondly, you can also motivate people around you because they're like, oh, she's so great, she achieved it, she was doing that for this long, and that's the result. So I can definitely do it myself. And if somebody thinks something bad, it's their own problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I learned it the hard way, and yeah, I totally understand what you're talking about. And but you have very nice, very fun way to go, from this moment when you thinking like, oh, I shouldn't do it, and then like I should do it because I will help by doing this, and these
Yeah.
people. I will inspire them. And you also shared that you own 2 NFTs. So what NFTs do you own?
I own 2 NFTs. It's true. So one was gifted to me by my partner for my birthday last year. It's by an artist I like, and she actually does erotic watercolor paintings, and I own one in an NFT. Sadly, I think he got me a one that was fake. And then because I think if it was not fake, and I mean it's so hard to tell, and I'm not really in the world of NFTs, but um so I should have gotten a real copy as well, but I didn't. So I think it wasn't real. And then the second one is a community member and I, and actually 2 community members, and I did this workshop where we did the biggest ever art creation workshop. And then somebody made it into an NFT and gifted it to me. So I owned that NFT, and it was the first Miroverse NFT ever. And I'm very proud to have it, to be the proud owner. And I'm really proud of that event that we did together as well. So it's a good memory.
And I feel like it's maybe the piece of, collection. You can collect them in the future and be like, by the way, have you ever collected anything?
Only plastic bags.
Plastic bags in one big plastic bag,
Yeah,
yes?
yeah. And
Ah,
I
okay.
still do it. I can't stop. It's I can't stop collecting them. Yeah. What about you?
I collect paper bags because usually in every shop I go, there is easier to find a paper bag than plastic bag for some reason. But also I have one bag from IKEA and another bag from one more shop, and they're very huge and big. And every time I go to a shop, I just took them with myself, like those old people who have this,
That's the
bag,
checkered
bags,
one.
bags with them, and I always have bags with me because, like, it's so much easier because I know their size. I know how I can use them. I have experience of using them, and I know how I can fit products into them. So I don't have to think about it. But if I'm buying like new bag, it's like, oh my God, how many bags do I have? Like how to buy not less, how to buy not more. And it's too hard for my brain. So
I'm the same. I'm the same. I feel you. I feel you. Yeah.
it's just easier. So, and what is your favorite place in the world?
Oh, tough question. I think a sauna. I mean, I'm not talking about a city. I'm talking about a setting. Love being in a sauna. Finnish sauna in particular. Sauna.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And I don't have a favorite city in the world. I think I love different things about different cities. I pretty like. I love Amsterdam. I feel very lucky that I get to live here. I love London. I love St. Petersburg. I love Berlin. What there is something in each. I'm not. There's no one thing I love, but a setting definitely a sauna in Finland, preferably near a lake.
Got it. Got it. And what do you like the most about Amsterdam?
I think Amsterdam is a very unique place culturally because it's really a hub of internationals who all get here, and you don't even have to speak Dutch. I speak Dutch, but it's very particular. It's very particular. It's very beautiful, and things are always going on, and you get to see something new every time if you want to. But you can also live a very kind of quiet life, and you don't have to participate. And I think this kind of balance of, you can have all these activities and all the fun, but then at the same time, you can be very, very kind of by yourself and in a quiet area. And you can go to the seaside and you can go to all these cute little towns around. And it's in the center of Europe, kind of everything's close. You can fly everywhere. It's super easy. Friends come to you because you're in the middle, and it's just a very kind of comfy place to be in. What can I say? You have to visit.
Yeah, definitely. And also, what I've heard about Amsterdam, there are a lot of tulips, and you can smoke some weed there. So
yes, I mean those are not the first things I think about, but definitely you can get that here as well. Yeah.
Helena, I really wish to have the sky as the limit to our conversation, but time is the limit. So let's jump to the rapid fire questions.
Yes, let's do it.
Photo or painting?
Photo.
Clowns or ballerinas?
Ballerinas.
What are your favorite color and song?
Color green. You can see green. Song, I don't have a favorite song, no.
Do you have a song of the week or a song of the day?
Oh my God, I know I don't. I find this very difficult with music. I don't. Sorry, no answer.
Let's pretend it's some opera song. Okay, I'm just kidding. Anyway, if you were a superhero, what superpower would you have?
The superpower would be stopping time.
Who do you learn from in the community world? Name just one person.
Let's say Max Pete.
Name two people who I should definitely reach out and invite to have this conversation.
Anna Maria Dorgo. Have you invited her already?
Not yet. She's on my list, but.
And maybe Paz Pisarski. Do you know her? She just
said
something about burnout, and I thought.
Yeah. We, as Taylor Harrington once said, we all kind of friend flirting in this community space. So we definitely friend flirted a little with both of them. So
we all have, and I love Anna Maria. So if she watches this, Anna Maria, I love you. She's amazing, and great friend, and just a person who you can have a lot of fun talking with, and who you can learn a lot from. So
we'll do definitely. Thank you very much for sharing them. And is there one question that I definitely should have asked you but didn't?
You didn't. Oh yes, you didn't ask me about my hair. My hair is my whole personality. I have a whole page for my hair.
I saw this Instagram page with 4 photos, but since it was just 4 photos, I was like, maybe it's not a thing anymore. So tell me more about your hair.
So I actually just started that page, and it's a practice of me not caring what everyone thinks. I love my hair. I put a lot of effort in my hair. I have a lot of content about my hair. I'm advertised on different hair pages I have a lot of hairdresser friends. I'm in these, video shoots and everything. So I just love it. I'm in a community about curly hair. So it's a whole thing. I spend a lot of time doing my hair and learning about hair. It's a whole world. So yeah, that is an interest of mine. I think a legit full-on interest that I have. Yes.
How could we miss it? So I believe that if I will ever have a question about curly hair, I know who to ask.
You have kind of curls. I can there's kind of we can discuss. I can give you some tips.
It depends on the weather, when it's rainy and when you are under the rain, it will definitely be better. So it's also a good tip, if you don't have to use any cosmetics and just go under the rain and then it will be just natural.
Yeah, it's like a natural blowout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Helena, it was so nice to get to know a real you, as we discussed it before the recording, that it's hard to
Yeah.
find who you really are. But I feel like it's still you can still understand who you really are from your social media. And I believe that in the future you will share more about yourself because you are a really interesting person to talk to have conversations with, and to have fun with, and to be honest with. So thank you very much for being yourself and for revealing just a little part of your inner human.
Thanks so much. And it's so lovely to be here and so lovely to catch up with you again. And I hope we continue doing this. And I will definitely try to reveal more of myself bit by bit. My boyfriend always says that I should do more of it as well, since he thinks that I don't do enough of it to the outside world. So I will be practicing and then we'll meet again.
Awesome. And see you in the community world.
Be in the community world. Thanks so much.
And thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, hit the like button, 5 stars, and share it with your friend. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.